And if you could spread the work out in international teams working 24/7, you would figure it out because it lowers your productivity cost and increases your productivity ratio. You guys are figuring this out. You're geniuses at this. But if we want to maintain a standard of living, we got to figure out more of the iPods, where we create 80% of the innovation and outsource 20% of the manufacturing. We have got to become much more an innovation nation. Where are the jobs going to be? In Kentucky, 75% of the jobs are going to require some type of post-secondary education in the 5 fastest growing jobs. That's where they're going to be. Look at the high school and dropout jobs. Where are they going to be? They're going to be in heavy, low-wage, part-time, seasonal work. They will not pay a living wage. So what that is creating in our nation and in our beloved Commonwealth is the beginnings of an apartheid nation. When my dad moved through his job and raised 4 kids, all who got post-secondary degrees, he was in the middle class. He worked in a textile firm and was a supervisor with a 10th grade education. But he worked hard. He worked 2 jobs. Mom worked jobs so they'd get us all through college so that our life could be better. Your children, your grandchildren, can you project the same? Probably not, unless we do something different. What we had back then was 74% of high school and some college, high school and the high school graduates and the dropouts were in the middle class. That has gone down significantly to about 39% now, from 74% to 39%. Moving on up, George Jefferson, just remember that. The way to move on up is get that post-secondary degree because that's what's happening in the upper class. So here's what you have, ladies and gentlemen. You have a nation that in the 70s and 80s was pretty balanced. Folks could not leave high school, get good paying jobs in the auto industry, the furniture industry, the textile industry. They could make a living. They could make a living to put kids through college. Those jobs are not here today, and you know it well. So what are we going to do with our future? We have to better educate our children for the future. Here's where we're falling down. Education in Kentucky has done some pretty good work since 1990s in Cara. We've done really good work. But you know what? It is not enough to be competitive. China and India and everybody else, they're way beyond us. They're figuring out our secret, which is a good, strong education system. And they got a whole lot more people. They can only educate a handful and still have a lot more workers than we do. Here's what's happening. You have valedictorians graduating from your high school classes that go take a placement test at Bob King's universities or 2-year colleges, and they're told you're not ready for college. In non-selective 2 years, that's our community technical college system, 60% of the kids are not ready for college level, credit level work. At our less selective, 30% gap. At our more selective 4-year universities, typically it's about 10% gap. Here's your universities. The enrollment at your universities, this is the readiness gap. Your Kentucky Community Technical College system, 78% of the kids were not ready for college level credit work in 1 or more subjects. What that's doing is costing you as parents, grandparents money. It's costing the Commonwealth of Kentucky. It's very expensive. Remediation, in other words, kids are taking courses they should have mastered in high school and you're paying for it, either through Pell Grants or through state support or right out of your pocket as a parent. Having been a parent that did this in North Carolina, I can tell you that it's not unique to Kentucky. This is nationwide. So what do we want to do? I have at least one boss in the audience today. I saw Billy Harper. I didn't know. Yeah, Billy is a great business advocate on the State Board of Education. We've got a lot of great business people on State Board, putting a new State Board in place. But what they're doing, they want to measure this. It's no longer enough just to say we want every child proficient, prepared for success. They're now ready to put a business model in place that measures this. So what we were, Kentucky, we were the first to say our standards are not rigorous enough to prepare kids for 21st century jobs. We were the first state in the nation to adopt the new National Common Core standards. We are one of the states involved in 3 major national consortia to really push for new nationwide assessments. I don't want to compare myself to just Mississippi standards. I want to compare ourselves to national, international standards and remove that readiness gap and remove that gap between NAEP and what our state assessment tells. Now, here's your first challenge as business people. When we go out and we tell Davis County that no longer are 85% of your kids ready and on grade level, and say, well, you know, the true number's 40%, can you imagine the backlash that that's going to have? So you as business community, in every community, you need to support us when those numbers come out. That indeed, this is the right thing. We've got to push harder. We've got to push for higher standards, and we've got to support kids. The Unified Plan for College Readiness. I have not been in a state that has such a unique partnership between higher education and the K-12 system. We are constantly working together for these types of things. We're trying to break the mold, not inch, but giant leaps like Superman. We're trying to create some giant leaps where kids could move on when ready, rather than just sit and gather seat time for coursework in high school. We're trying to put those remediation courses back in the high schools and say, high schools, you are now accountable. Every child who graduates from your high school has to be measured and is college ready. And that will be your ultimate accountability system. I'm amazed when I read the front page of a newspaper and they talk about the superintendent evaluation, and not once in the whole commentary does it mention the need to evaluate superintendents on student learning and student outcomes. That's what you can do. That's the second thing you can do. 1, be ready for the backlash. 2, be requiring in your community that school boards help superintendents, principals, and teachers focus on that one big outcome of kids leave 12th grade ready for college and career. And we'll have the measures for you. We'll handle those types of things. You've got to hold them for a third thing, graduation rate. But it's not enough just to have graduation rate. They got to be ready for college and career. You've got to begin to support us. Today, I spent half my day testifying to the K-12 subcommittee in Frankfort and then the interim joint committee in Frankfort. And my major topic was, 1, hold kids in schools accountable for attendance. Quit letting them ride easy on getting out of school. Kid, you pay for 177 days and 1,062 hours. We need to make sure our children get every minute that they deserve. And 2, I was trying to get folks to move forward with teacher and principal effectiveness that included student growth as an important outcome. And you all know what happened to me when I tried to push charter schools, okay? So, here's what we're all after. One of those children up there is your child, your grandchild, or your nephew. What kind of career are they headed toward? Are they headed toward a high school dropout, high school graduate career that'll be low paying, part-time, seasonal, won't be able to support a family? Or are they headed toward outstanding STEM areas with post-secondary degrees? And will you create jobs that these kids can go into? Because what we have is our children in Kentucky and the future of Kentucky. So what you should do is focus on the kids, require something of the adults, be a voice in your community, and work on those specific things I mentioned. So I would say that Rick and I are probably a lot closer than we are apart. And I would say that the reason we're a lot closer than we're apart is because the children are at the bottom of the whole thing. So I think I finished in time, Bill, and take a few questions. You're the moderator and do a great job at that, so go away.
Dr. Holliday, gosh, what a profound